Hi, I'm Adam. Welcome to our very first family edition of Luxury Escapes Live. And with me today I have the fantastic head of content for Luxury Escapes, Emily.
Hello.
And Jen, who's one of our amazing travel consultants.
Hello.
It's great to have everybody on the show. Why don't you talk about a bit what's starting in Victoria, ACT, New South Wales, WA. They started last week in Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia. So obviously got lots of trips happening with the kids. Got like this one here. And so really important when we're travelling with kids to plan and to have some great experience. So you guys have got families. So why don't you tell us a bit about the ages of your kids and maybe some of the trips you've done already and some really good places to go before we delve into a bit more detail.
Sure. Do you want to kick off, Jen?
Yeah, sure. So I've got Lola and Clover here with me, and Clover's 5 and Lola's 7. And a lot of our trips, because I'm from America, we live in Australia, but I'm from America, so we have been to the US quite a bit, probably about maybe 6 or 7 times. So we've been to Disney World and Disneyland and Hawaii and Florida.
Because Jen's telling us where she's
all over
been.
California, as well as lots of wonderful places within Australia. This particular school holidays, we're not going anywhere, but we've just recently been to Hawaii.
Amazing.
We took up our Marriott Waikiki offer that we recently had in Luxury Escapes, and that was a lot of fun. We're traveling, and I definitely have some tips to share on do's and don'ts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll get to them soon.
So like Jen, my hubby is from Canada, so one of our first ever trips with my daughter Stella, who is now 6, but she was 18 months old at the time, was a long haul trip to Vancouver, 15 hours from Sydney to Van, and never having travelled.
15 hours, it's a fair stint on a plane.
It was and we made the awful mistake, and I would say this to anyone who's watching, make sure that you get to the airport with a couple of hours to let the kids just run crazy and get as tired as possible, because we made the mistake and we were running late and we just ran straight onto the plane, 15 hours with an 18-year-old going absolutely nuts. Basically had a breakdown when we arrived at the other side.
Well, the whole point is to talk
but learnt from that, and the way back she slept all the way home, 10 hours of sleep, so that was beautiful.
It's a pretty good effort.
Yeah.
Thanks. So this is what happens when you have kids.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Thanks,
there he goes. Bye-bye.
So obviously travelling is hard enough and stressful enough without kids. So obviously with kids just amps up the pressure a fair bit. So I guess what's some of the worst things you... So obviously the 15-hour flight's not great, but I know our worst experience of the young man who just left stage unprompted. We were at... He's generally he was a really great baby and never got sick, and I don't think he'd ever vomited. And then we gave him some scrambled eggs in the Dubai lounge, and for the first time ever, he threw up all over myself and Leslie Ann. So it was it was an unfortunate trip. I think Leslie Ann had to wear her pajamas off the plane because that's all she had. So that was one pretty average experience for us. But
really, actually, not this past trip to Hawaii. Recently, we had a trip where we had a really good run on the plane, Melbourne to Honolulu. I thought we were doing really well. Both kids slept and they were fantastic. We got off the plane with all of the other tired travelers, literally got right into customs right off the plane, and she threw up all over the the area right when we got off the plane, right as they were saying aloha, aloha. And I will say they were so lovely to us. Nobody, even the other travelers, nobody minded. It is, you know what? It's one of those things when you travel with kids, it's going to happen, and you do laugh about it later. You don't laugh about it whilst it's happening, but you do laugh about it later. So.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point as well. Like, I remember traveling the first time and just thinking, just being totally mortified, thinking, oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me. You know, am I the worst parent in the world? Yeah. And the thing to kind of keep in mind is that you're not, and everyone goes through it. And I remember one older lady, she must have been in her 60s, she just turned to me and she just went, "It's okay, darling. You know, we've all been here before." Yeah. And it's just the little, you know, when you're traveling with other people with kids, or when you're traveling yourself with kids. So I think it's good to remind yourself that everyone's been there, or they're going to go there, gives it a bit of comfort when you're going through those tough times.
It's a pretty. I think there's nothing worse than a screaming baby, especially when it falls on the plane. And I think especially these days, people are pretty understanding of and they realise it's not the fault of the parents.
Yeah.
And I think the old days of the ugly stares don't seem to happen too much anymore.
Yeah, and I think usually as well, especially on a long haul flight, you will be amongst other families. So, whether you want to or not, you'll all be in the same area of the plane, generally speaking. Yeah. And I find it comforting because then I know that, if we do have an issue, they're a little bit older now, so we don't have as many issues as we did when they were toddlers. Yeah. But you're amongst other people that will be understanding, and it makes it a lot easier because, when you're less stressed than everybody, the kids sense if you're stressed out as well. But when you're calm and you have a good flight, they sense that as well, and they're usually a little bit easier.
Have you guys had any great experiences with airlines? So some airlines are better with passengers, especially with kids. You guys had any great experience with airlines who have been really good with your kids? The hostesses or the hosts super helpful. Is there any airlines that stick out as being better than others?
I think Qantas
I was going to say Qantas.
Just above and beyond, really.
Yeah. I think they've always been fantastic, and they always seem, right when the kids were, when they were babies, I mean, immediately when you sat down, they would come over and see if you needed your bottle heated up, or they're very proactive in that way. Yeah. And it's those little things, I think, when you're traveling, those are the things to look out for, are those carriers that are going to give you that service and that they care. Because that, again, it just helps.
Qantas are great. I think Singapore, the Singapore staff are as good as any I've experienced.
Yeah.
So I think generally, if you're obviously flying a full service airline, you probably are going to get a better level of service, obviously, than a discount airline, just due to number of staff. But yeah, certainly SQ and so Singapore and Qantas and Emirates I found to be all really good.
Absolutely.
But I guess in terms of other tips, do you guys have any other great tips for taking, I guess especially kids probably under 5, and you've probably been through that under 5. Are there any great tips for kids under 5 that I guess people like myself who have slightly younger kids can potentially take on board for our next trip?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I think of is with smaller children is that I know that when you book your flight, normally if it's a long haul flight, there's a bassinet that pulls down from the wall. They're never, quote, guaranteed if you're flying in economy. I can't speak for other classes, but if you're flying in economy, you do have to request it. It's always a good idea if you are doing that. Get to the airport early, check in early.
Can you request it? You can only request it at the airport. You can't request it before.
When I have flown, it's only that you can request it because it depends upon how many other families are flying and how old the children are. Yeah. We've had really good luck with getting the bassinet every time. Right. Because there's only 2 or 4 on a large plane. We've had really good luck with getting it if we just check in early. Yeah. It's almost like first in, best dressed.
3 and a bit hours early, maybe.
Yeah, a bit early, and then along with that then you've got all this time. The kids can run up and down, watch the planes. They can get their energy out, like you were saying. You needed to get your energy out. Your 18-month-old needed to get some energy out before getting on the plane. Yeah, that definitely helps. So yeah, that's helped us.
I'd also say one of the big things that I found was just making sure that you've got a bag full of distractions. Yes, basically. So just pack it. What we did was went to the $2 shop. Just got a load of little bits and bobs, loads of little colouring in books and texters and plastic snakes and just things that you could bring out and they would surprise them for a couple of minutes and just don't worry if they disappear because they're going to disappear. And
save some of your treats for later on. Don't put all your cards on the table in the first hour of the flight. You need to save some things, and I've done that literally where we're in 14 to 15 hours on the plane and they're just about to lose it, and I pull out a piece of candy or something and then it just settles you down until you land. But definitely don't put all your cards on the table initially. Make sure that you save some of those and spread them out.
The one mistake we made on our last flight to the UK is he was just starting to use iPads, but he wasn't quite into them yet. He would watch them for a bit, but we didn't actually bring a headphone for him.
Oh, so that fits.
We'd have to use our little ones. He's got pretty small ears, as you can see, so the headphone kept popping out. But when you don't have sound, unfortunately, he lost interest really quickly in iPads. As a result of that, we were sands and payment largely, and a lot longer than probably should have been. So getting the bigger earphones for the kids that plug in. That's a bit different to your earpods that we use. I think we're certainly something we'll remember for next time.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Airlines should create headphones for
Absolutely.
smaller headphones for children. If anyone is with an airline that's listening today, but yeah,
Shark
definitely. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
New invention.
Yeah.
So we've got some fantastic prizes to give away now. So we've got 5 one-year memberships for 2 adults and 2 children to the amazing Featherdale Wildlife Park. Featherdale's home to more than 2,000 native Australian animals, more than 250 species. You actually get up close and personal with the koalas, wombats, echidnas, kangaroos. The prize is actually valued at $125 each. We've got 5 to give away, and it's actually also available for purchase on Living Social. So if you don't win, you can go to Living Social and buy it. But to win the prize, I think we just make a comment, asking the experts make a comment on this thread. We've actually got one from Di already. So sorry, just getting some comments from down here. You can't win the prize, but and Di has suggested we always took lollipops for our kids to suck on when we were flying with them.
Those are good.
And that's a great idea, Di. Thanks for a fantastic one. Constant swallow helps their ears pop and change in pressure so they don't get severe pain. No crying kids, and obviously lollipops last a while as well. So that's a cracking idea from Di. So thanks for that one. In the draw to win the Featherdale prize pack. And I think we've got another one from Catherine as well. And Catherine says, try and arrange your travel to arrive late in the afternoon so you can check in straight to your hotel room. Check-in's usually at 2 o'clock. Luxury Escape sometimes early check-in, so keep an eye out for that. And if your return flight is late at night, always pay for late checkout. Again, Luxury Escapes often have late checkout, so another reason to buy through LE, not some of the others. And kids. And moving on. So
I was just going to say on that note about the lollipops. The Vicks vapor drops, those are great as well. They really help, and those helped my girls on our last flight to Hawaii. So
great. Eucalyptus.
Along with the lollipops, the eucalyptus drops are great as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you've got a really little bubba, bringing along a bottle of milk is fantastic at that point because it just soothes them when you're kind of in takeoff or landing, and again kind of relieves the pressure on the ears, which can hurt those little ones a little bit too much.
Great tips. Oh, sorry. And why don't we talk about a few of some destinations that are a bit more family friendly than others. So probably Antarctica, not the best family friendly vacation, but Fiji is a classic one. I think someone here is going to Fiji.
Me.
Oh, lucky.
So where are you staying?
Well, I'm actually staying at the Doubletree Hilton, which is Luxury Escapes.
Brand new hotel, I understand.
Yep. And it's a really interesting place. And one of the reasons why I chose it was they really kind of put back into the local economy, and they have, they really invest in employing local people. And on top of that, it's a really beautiful, luxurious hotel. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be coming up on Luxury Escapes. So look.
Fantastic. How long are you going for?
Going for 6 days.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. But one of the reasons why we chose Fiji, I've not been before. I don't know. Have you been?
I have been to Fiji, not with the kids though.
Yes.
I am eyeing our Castaway Island offer.
That's it. But one of the reasons why I chose it really was because people just say that it is so family friendly. And
that 4.5 hour travel time is a lot.
Yeah.
It's right. 15 hours for Vancouver.
Exactly, and I've got a new 18-month-old this time. Stella's now 6, and I've got Charlotte, my 18-month-old. So I learnt from the last time.
Now,
and I think that the 4.5 flight should be absolutely spot on.
You'll nail that. Yeah. You don't know. You've done 15 hours. You can do 4 hours.
I'm like, amateur
the hardest part.
Exactly.
I actually stayed in Fiji about 4 months ago to a place called Jean-Michel Cousteau Resort, another Luxury Escapes partner, and they were. In terms of kids, they were absolutely amazing. They have, you basically get a nanny or essentially a carer to look after each kid. They have an amazing program for the kids through the day, so the parents can come and spend time with them if they want, or if you want to just have some time to yourself, go to the spa, go snorkeling, go scuba diving. The nannies are amazing at looking after the kids, and obviously all inclusive as well. So it's a great destination for adults with kids. So that 2 to 12 age.
Yeah.
And obviously Doubletrees and the Westons and the Sheratons also fantastic in Fiji for just the family-friendly nature of them. Such a amazingly nice people and so warm and caring.
That's definitely a draw, I think, with Fiji. And I've heard that I have a good friend who they go to Fiji every year, and they go and they see the same family. So they actually became friends with the nanny that was watching their children, and then they became family friends. And so it's created this sort of whole extra special experience. It's not just a holiday going to, a great resort. There's a whole, cultural experience as well that the kids are getting, because they get to meet kids their age as well. They meet the nanny's family and the nanny's kids.
Amazing.
And they've developed this friendship, and it will last, they'll keep going back. So, it's wonderful.
One of our nannies who was looking after...
Daddy, come on,
Yes.
ice cream.
Ice cream? Yeah, ask Mummy. And one of our... So we had nanny for William and a nanny for Isla, and Isla's nanny had 11 kids and 60 grandkids, and she was about 55, I think.
Wow.
So she's pretty busy.
Yeah.
There's other great family destinations. Bali, another classic one. A lot of our Luxury Escapes members love going to Bali. Our number one destination in 2017. And have you guys been to Bali before?
No.
I've been to Bali. I was able to go and visit.
Yeah. Airplane. Where do you want to
I'm going to
go?
Singapore. Maybe we'll go there next. Oh no, but with Bali, one of the things I remember is having a chance to go and look at some of the properties, some of the hotels that we've been able to feature. And one of them was the Trans Resort. And I remember thinking that my kids would love it, because they literally have an ice cream parlor in the kids club. So these kids are living, the parents are happy because the kids are happy. And
Yeah, she came to a Luxury Escape.
I love it. But I mean, I just remember thinking, I always think about whenever I go somewhere, and I'm not with my kids, I think, would my kids like this?
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of the resorts in Bali are so great. They have these, are absolutely fantastic. They're just so thoughtful and catering for small kids, but catering for, those older children as well, that, 8s, 9s, there's sort of something for everyone. So
Nusa Dua is the classic Bali kids destination. So you've got a really self-contained area and the collection shopping centre, which do you like Bali? So Nusa Dua's got some huge hotels from obviously Grand Hyatt, which was on Luxury Escapes a couple of weeks ago, Mulia, which is a phenomenal hotel, Western. There's probably about 20 significant hotels in Nusa Dua, and really well designed for kids, which is a cracker. And Queensland's another one. So SeaWorld, probably the most iconic destination for kids, especially sort of 5 to 15. With the 4 theme parks close by, and the beauty of SeaWorld Resort is you're right next to SeaWorld, so you can literally walk next door to it. Again, been a long-term partner of Luxury Escapes and Kudo. And Port Douglas is another one for kids. Have you guys been to typical North Queensland at all?
Amazing.
A little bit, not enough yet. We're going to be going soon.
Yeah. No, it's just, I think it's interesting, tropical North Queensland.
Thanks.
I remember the first time I got off the plane there, and I was just like, we're in Melbourne here, and it really felt like being in a completely, in another world, And
take the money.
And I think for kids as well, there's so much there, like going on the Hartley's crocodile adventures, just the pure humidity and the change in temperature, and just a really, really relaxed attitude of the locals as well. It's just such a chilled holiday, and it's really beautiful, and it's something that's so unique to Australia as well. Getting up into the Daintree, doing that ferry crossing. We saw cassowaries that are just like prehistoric beasts just running around, and it's like, my God, there's one right next to the car. So I think sometimes when we think of family holidays, we sort of tip our hats to overseas, but we've got so much in our own backyard that is just phenomenal, and so easy to access and so easy to get to. At the moment, we're working with the QT in Port Douglas, and that's a beautiful resort.
I think there's 1 2 bedroom available. So I think one thing we haven't talked about is the size of room is super relevant. And I'm all right, thanks. I'll have some later. I think the size of room, obviously you can get, especially in Europe, in Rome and in London, you've got super small hotels. It's quite hard for kids. But I think the beauty of it, especially in Australia, a place like Palm Cove and Port Douglas and Surfers Paradise, you often get 1-2 bedroom apartment style, often strata titled properties. So the beauty is you're in a 100 square metre apartment with a kitchen.
Yep.
Versus a hotel room, those facilities, much more convenient. QT, great example of
Yeah.
that. Hilton Gold Coast, which was on Luxury Escapes not long ago, another great example of that. The ability to be able to really settle in like a home with kids is really important. Have you guys done any cruising before with kids?
Yes,
Have
and
you?
I loved it.
Did you?
I loved it.
My husband wants to. We haven't done it yet, but that is definitely on the cards.
Yeah, it was so easy. We got on in Sydney, and it was literally, at the time I was living in Sydney, so we just put our stuff in the taxi, arrived at the Circular Quay, toddled onto the boat, and then there's your hotel room ready to go, and then you go off your next adventure.
So on the boat, you've got all your meals included?
Yeah,
and you've got Kids Club included?
Kids Club included.
And what are some of the stuff? So what ship, do you know what cruise line?
We were on Royal Caribbean. And which was a beautiful ship, and you've got multiple pools. You've got your adults only area as well, where you can it's just so quiet. I remember sitting on top at the front of the ship, and there wasn't anyone around.
Yeah,
and I think that can be people's fear sometimes. Cruise ships that you're going to be surrounded by thousands of people. Yeah, and you find that there are some places where you can have a really quiet time, and you're the only person there.
How old were your children when you?
3 years old.
Okay,
yeah, so still
3.
3.
Okay.
And
So
what kind of stuff do kids do while they're on the boat?
Oh, they do great stuff. They do. They put on shows. They do marine biology kind of club. And explore the sea and the ocean. They have guest speakers come in. She came out of it. She made loads of little friends from all over the world as well, which is pretty unique. Yeah. As a whole, as a family as well, one of the great things is that you don't. I love it. It was amazing.
Appealed to me overly.
I was happy not to have it. Now kids are a little
totally switched off. You can get it. But you sort of pay a premium for it.
I mean, you're out in the middle of paradise.
And that was it. And I just loved switching off and taking photos and just enjoying the photos and enjoying the time. So
absolutely.
So I've got just to jump in, another great tip from Paula. And Paula says, pack the minimum toys, etc. If your kids don't colour in, don't take it. They won't use it.
Good advice.
Every restaurant gives out colouring pencils and paper anyway. Don't take Lego. 1-2 cars for the kids that can play with them. Otherwise, you'll end up carrying it. So I think a really good point that you don't want to take too much stuff because you end up carrying it. So it's such a really good point. And Sarah says we're off to Fiji for our honeymoon on the 10th. Congratulations, Sarah.
Congratulations.
In Thailand with the whole family. Can't wait. So that'll be an amazing trip. And so you've done some research on some of the kids clubs in the world. I think you're writing an article for the Luxury Escapes magazine, which is obviously kids clubs can make, not every hotel has a kids club, and there's obviously a big difference between a great kids club and a kids club that's kind of just a bit of a room and some staff.
Yes.
So in you obviously done a lot of, all our articles do a lot of research and a lot of work. What are some of the best kids club teams across and what makes them good?
I think if you check out, if you go and have a look at luxuryescapes.com/magazine, you can read the article. A lot of the things that we look at that make kids clubs stand out above the rest is, for example, Atlantis, the Palm in Dubai. They've got a fantastic underwater movie theatre. They've got a climbing wall.
I mean, can I go to the kids? That's where I would want to go.
I know. Fish hospital. Amazing. A fish hospital. What happens at a fish hospital? That's amazing. I'd like to know.
I didn't even know there was such
little
a thing.
kind of things checking heartbeats on fish. And then when we look at Per Aquam Niama in the Maldives, they can go on safaris. They learn to cook. They have MasterChef classes.
I wouldn't actually think of Maldives. I think it as a honeymoon destination. So
it's interesting. I was thinking that.
So much kid-friendly stuff at Per Aquam.
Yeah, we actually one of our bloggers that we work with, travelling with kids, did an article for us on this particular kids club, and she was surprised too. And I was reading it, I was like, wow, that's really encouraging that the whole family can kind of get along and get into it. And one of the key things that she brought out about it is that because it is such a unique marine environment, it's more than just a kids club. It's a real environmental experience for the kids. And you talk about how kids can really pick up on things culturally and the environment that they're in. I think Maldives seems to really offer that different type of experience, which is so unique.
The nice thing about Maldives is often the overwater and even the non-overwater are really large, often 100 square metres plus, which is compared to a 30-metre room in Rome, where you can't get the cot in, to 100 metres in Maldives, it actually makes a big difference, often with a self-contained pool with a fence if you need it. So it's actually quite a lot more kids-friendly than you probably think.
And that does make a big difference. Now that my kids are a little bit older and they grow so quickly. So you could go on a holiday and you go somewhere a year later and you're thinking, we didn't seem this cramped before. Yeah. But you do need space. It is important. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other great kids clubs that you guys have come across that it's probably worth telling the audience about? A sneak peek into the article.
Probably Saniva Kuri in Thailand. It's pretty amazing in the sense that it looks like this huge kind of manta ray, like it's really visually mind-blowing, and it sits high kind of into the treetops. It works through kind of cultural excursions for the kids, taking them out to sea, working with marine biologists. There's just that extra layer that is so much more than a room with a couple of coloured pen pencils. They do zip lining. They have zip lining waiters that come to the kids and give them their lemonades and stuff, which is pretty phenomenal. When you're talking about taking things to a whole other level and giving your children an experience that they're not going to forget, there's definitely a lot of places that are really kind of setting the bar and pushing the limits.
I think any kids club where it is a bit more interactive and it's not a babysitting service, you want to know that your kids are having a great time and taking away something from a holiday other than just sitting in a room with toys. You want to know that they're actually being talked to and they're being taught. I think that's really important, and I know that we had a great experience in California once at a resort in Pelican Hill, and it was very similar. They were young and they were only about 3, but they were engaged in a cooking class, and they loved it, and they still talk about it to this day. So I think anytime they have a good time, it makes you feel better as well. It makes you more relaxed.
One of the things one of the things that a lot of our members are looking at, actually look at how good the kids club is, and one thing you can do is we've got obviously our travel consultants, one of which is Jan, have that amazing understanding of what the best hotels are for kids and families. So if you're not sure, certainly call us up at Luxury Escapes and we can give you some real heads up on this is a great resort for couples. This is actually a really good resort for kids because the kids club has X, Y, Z. So we're doing research, so we love to knowledge on to our members. A couple more great tips from Kerry. This is bring essential oils to keep everyone calm. Hard puzzles like we had in the early 80s, they're a hit, and I can vouch for that. Our William, who you saw making cameo, but loves puzzles, and Mel Keckman, he doesn't have much kitchen entertain. And Bianca has submitted, we always fly overnight, so she sleeps. Good idea. I think Jen had a similar
Definitely,
idea.
That is my that is my biggest tip.
And Rona, pack the kids' bags, dump the kids at grandma, and go to Thailand. Another great tip from Rona.
That is even better.
Maybe not in the spirit of today's episode, but a great tip list. And we've actually got a couple of offers at the moment on Luxury Escapes that are really great for kids. The first one, this is actually coming close to selling out. So if you're looking to go to Fiji, have a look at it now and probably don't mess around. But Castaway Island, Fiji, one of the most renowned, one of the most famous Fiji resorts, up there with the Hilton and Jean-Michel. So we've got an offer on Luxury Escapes for $3,499 for 2 adults, valued at more than $9,000. And the kicker is you can bring 2 kids up to 12 years of age who stay and eat for free. And you get 5 nights in your own bureau, which is a lovely hut, all-inclusive dining, so breakfast, lunch, dinner. Emma, I think that's right. Full buffet breakfast, a la carte, team lunches and dinners. And the kicker, why don't you tell us a bit about Family Pass?
The Family Pass is absolutely brilliant for adults and for kids because the parents get a lovely bottle of sparkling wine, which is great, and 5 hours of babysitting thrown in, which is lovely. Yeah. And on top of that, with the 5 hours babysitting, you actually get a private beachfront dining experience, which, I think it's important to reconnect, with your partner, and and know that your kids are having a great time as
Absolutely.
well, you know.
Definitely.
So it's a really great offer on
And it's
that.
been one of our best-selling PG offers ever, and it's selling really quickly. We've got another amazing offer that's about to go live any minute, probably next half hour, and that's an offer to the Hilton Arcadia in Phuket. So an iconic hotel, one of the largest hotels in Phuket. It's 5-star, 7 nights for.
The pool looks incredible here.
I think there's 5 pools even,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
there are
So
5 pools. There's a
and the
big
main pool
round
is phenomenal.
Absolutely gorgeous.
So 5 nights for $9.99, but certainly for those travelling with kids, there's a special family upgrade, which really should mention. For $17.99, you get guaranteed interconnecting rooms. So interconnecting rooms, often the hotels can't guarantee it. So the beauty of a guarantee, you've got peace of mind. You can book it up front. You know your kids aren't going to be on the next floor. And simply a door between, so you shut the door if you need to, or you leave a bit ajar so you can hear them, and you've got plenty of space. So the kids in one room, or the grandparents in one room, and the other room, and Hilton, one of the iconic Phuket resorts.
Yeah.
And that price is a phenomenal price. So you get breakfast, your buffets, 2 dining experiences, 2 massages, a nightly beer, wine, cocktail for each adult, obviously not for kids. So it's a phenomenal deal. Going live any minute, I think.
I love that there's
Yep.
a family upgrade as well for 3 children, because we do have a lot of customers that have more than 2 children, and they always want to know what offers they can take. So this is a good one for larger families.
But then obviously you hear from a lot of our fantastic members. So what are some of the, I guess, questions, some of the most common sort of questions you get, maybe you can answer for everybody watching?
Well, I mean, Kids Club is always huge. Kids Club is always important. If breakfast is included, that's always important. A lot of them do want to know if you have a larger family, if there are other options for them, which we always try to accommodate. It is fantastic when you have an offer like the Arcadia, where you can have guaranteed interconnecting rooms, because historically it's very hard for a hotel to ever guarantee them. But knowing that they're guaranteed, I think that sets families' minds at ease, knowing that they're going to another country, and that's something that they're definitely going to have.
Great.
Those things I think are key. I think a good family resort, if it's a family, a lot of customers don't, they might be looking at it at one of our offers, but they don't know for sure if it's a family resort. And I think it is important because that, again, makes it easier for me. Because I know that my kids are having fun, and I know that there's going to be that connection. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important as well to understand where a family hotel is, because sometimes, that there are more adult orientated hotels where, couples want to go and just chill out and not be near kids, and that's absolutely fine. And celebrated as well. So I think, whenever you, as customers, if you ever have any questions about whether a family hotel is orientated in that way or not, or suitable, always feel free to ring up Jen and Co.
Yes,
and they can help you out and answer any of those questions.
Awesome, thanks guys. So we've just got a couple of 2 last tips, and amazing tips today, so thanks everybody for submitting them. And Samantha has said Kids Club at Club Med Bali was amazing, one of the iconic kids clubs globally, I think. And Peter, Luxury Escapes trip to Kingfisher Bay, Fraser Island was awesome. Plus, you don't need a 4-wheel drive to do it. Hop on the 4-wheel drive bus, see the heights of the island in comfort.
That's
so
a great one.
Another amazing tip. Thanks, Peter, and thanks for being such a great member. So then we'll flick across to Luxury Escapes ambassador and mum of 2, Sophie Faulkner, and she'll give us some amazing tips. She's not unfortunately in the studio; she's in Sydney on some
school
Luxury
holidays.
Escapes business, school holidays. So we'll cross to Sophie right now and hear what she has to say.
Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm in Sydney at the moment, and currently I'm getting my kids ready for their school holidays. But I did want to share with you some tips and tricks for traveling with kids. And as the host of Luxury Escapes, the world's best holidays, and Sydney Weekender, both on Channel 7, and having a daughter, Isabella, who's filming at the moment, who's 12, and my gorgeous son, Jack, who's 8, I feel like I have a little bit of experience when it comes to traveling with kids. Okay, first and foremost, you have to be organised. The more organised you are, the better. I organise my day by day, so I know exactly what I'm doing. So by the time I get to my chosen destination, I can kick back, I can relax, I can have a cocktail and leave absolutely nothing to chance, which I love. The other thing I like to do is to get the kids involved. It's really important to get them excited and invested in the holiday. So if I was going to a place like Thailand, I'd get out the atlas, I'd show them where it's situated, and then we'd go online and they could have a look at all the activities we could do whilst we're there. For example, Isabella might choose to go riding with elephants, Jack might want to do some stand-up paddleboarding at a great beach, and I make sure I do those activities so it feels like it's their holiday too. Other simple things like don't ever give your children sugar when you're travelling, which is a no-brainer really. Make sure they have a great night's sleep the night before, which is really important too. I also like to travel with a game in my purse because there's often delays and sitting around unexpectedly. So I find is really great. We can all play, it's lightweight and it's easy to travel with. Another thing I like to do is to make sure I always have a medical kit because it will never go astray, trust me. And in that I usually have a bit of Panadol, antihistamine, antibacterial, lotion and Band-Aids, and you always seem to use those while you're on holidays. Last but not least, it's your holiday too. You need a break, you're the parents. So make sure you choose a great destination like a Luxury Escapes resort or hotel. So you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't have to worry about a thing. And if it has kids club, that's an added bonus. An hour or two to yourself every day where you can have a treatment, a massage, read a book uninterrupted, or even have a glass of wine with your partner at a lunch is just pure heaven on earth. Well, that is it from me. I hope I gave you some good tips and tricks. My kids are busy packing and they're lucky ducks and they're off to Africa tomorrow on safari. And then our next holiday is in January and I can't wait. We're doing a road trip and going to Byron Bay and staying at the Byron at Byron, which is a Luxury Escapes resort and one of my all-time favourites. Now, I wish everyone there a very happy holiday with their families too, and it's back to you, Adam. Thanks. See you later.
Thanks so much, Sophie. That was fantastic tips. And Sophie's going to understand, I think she's going to Africa, is she, next year on safaris? That's something that I probably wouldn't do with kids my age, but I think when you're sort of 8, 10, it's an amazing experience. So have you guys got any plans to do something like that?
As well, whether it's Africa and really making them accountable and part of the holiday. So instead of just the parents planning the holiday, the kids getting involved in the planning as well. I think it's fantastic. But no, I'd love to go to Africa.
Yeah. So I think we'll just, I got a final tip from Sarah, and she's given some amazing tips here. So firstly, if you can stop over for a night halfway, do it, which is a great, I think Singapore is a great one to stop over. Dubai's another one. Dubai's for kids, Dubai's really, you wouldn't think it, but the water parks in Dubai are probably the best in the world. We obviously work with Atlantis and Jumeirah. Jumeirah coming up on the site possibly in a few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. But,
we've had some great three-night stopovers in Singapore offers, the Conrad Centennial and the Marriott property that we've just recently had, and that's huge. A lot of families booking those because they are, en route to somewhere else.
It really breaks up the trip, so you don't have jet lag, and you do have jet lag. It's really dimmed because you're getting it up, which is great. Sarah also says, squish a V pillow into your carry-on if you have an older baby. So feed, sleep comfortably on that.
That's a good
tip.
Yep.
Pack everything into Ziploc bags for easy access and doubles as a receptacle for wet, messy and dirty clothes, which is a great... Bags for dirty clothes.
Bags for dirty clothes.
Yes. Well, nappies you can throw out, but certainly
all been there.
is one that's really helpful. So thanks.
That's a great one, Sarah.
I reckon this is probably the best tips we've ever had in an episode. So thanks everyone for brilliant tips. Just a remind everybody, so we've got Castaway in Fiji on the site right now, and it probably will sell out. So get on to it. Dates are booking out. So if you wanted a really good kids trip, Castaway is one that probably can't be beaten. Hilton Phuket coming up any minute as soon as Em can get off the stage and sort the go live. So Decking Rooms is a big one, and certainly give Jen a call if you want some inside tips onto the best resorts for kids. Thanks again for the kids coming in. It was great. Not so much William, who was a bit mischievous, but
they're all eating ice cream right now.
Yeah, it's loving that at Ben and Jerry's. I hope everyone has a brilliant school holidays starting now in a couple of the states, and we'll bid farewell. Thanks, girls, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Bye,
watching.
Thank you.